Alright guys, welcome back. In this video we're going to take a look at how we can create the PhysicsHandle grab method. So you can see I just moved the camera over here so I don't have to turn around every time I need to test. Just be careful if you do this yourself. You are probably going to be facing your screen, so don't try and toss boxes forward. You might smash your screen. I'm not saying I did that once, but I may have done that. And nothing happened, but just a warning. Right, so first of all, we're gonna start off in the pickup cube and change the pickup or the grab method to a PhysicsHandle. So that we are now gonna be working on that. Inside the motion controller itself, we're gonna add a PhysicsHandle here, and we're just gonna leave the name like this. Notice that we cannot drag and drop this onto a motion controller to drive the position, so we need to do that manually on event tick. So add a pin here, drag in the PhysicsHandle and set target, location and rotation. It's a bit confusing if you're looking for set world rotation and location. It doesn't exist. It's called target, location and rotation. So we're going to drive that from the motion controller itself, like this. So inside the grab actor, we call the pickup method here. So now we also need to pass in the PhysicsHandle like this. So we need to expand our pickup interface here a little bit with a new parameter, which we're going to call it's going to be a PhysicsHandle. Component. I'm just going to shorthand this. Actually, let me call this motion controller because it's actually the motion controller. Just makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, it's basically the same. So I seem to have lost the connection here, but I just need to make sure that I didn't lose it also for the release. Might have done that. Nope, of course not. No, it's okay. So grab actor. Now we are passing in the PhysicsHandle. So let's go to the pickup cube and we can now see that we have this. Let's connect that up again. We have that available here. So just renamed it because I'm gonna be making a few changes here. So first of all, I'm gonna make a sequence here because we're gonna do a few things, and it's gonna make sense in a moment why I do this. Actually, let me do it this way. So the motion control we're going to set as the variable, and the PhysicsHandle we're also going to set as a variable like this. So this is the MC and this is the PhysicsHandle. Did I get that right? I hope I did. Oops. It's a bit of a mess right now, but it's gonna be okay in a moment. So let's just clean this up. So the motion controller is going all the way over here, so we can drag that in here and then connect that up as parent, get rid of that. So that should make it a little bit more neat. Oops. Anyway, let's continue. So building the logic for picking up our static mesh, which is the cube here, it's going to be happening by using this new PhysicsHandle we just dragged in. So drag off from that and say grab component at location with rotation, and we can drag that off here. So what we want to grab is a component that is the static mesh, and then the location and rotation we're going to get from the motion controller. Like this, and that is basically what we need to begin with. So when we let go or drop, we want to call release. That's how you release something again from a PhysicsHandle, and that should be it. There's a little problem with the releasing. There's actually a few problems, but let's have a test first and see how it looks. So you can see now it's moving and following the PhysicsHandle. When you swing it wildly, you're going to see it drift off a little bit. It's going to find its way back, so that's something we're going to change in a moment. And if I let go, it doesn't let go. Also, if I try to grab it with the other hand, it won't allow me to do that. It's going to act a little bit weird. We're going to have a look at that in a moment. Something else we want to do when we drop and pick up, since we now set two variables up here, the motion controller and the PhysicsHandle, we also want to clear these down here. So I want to set those to blank after we are done using them, like this. And the reason why we can't release, let's have a look at that first. Actually, that's kind of interesting. If we go into the motion controller and find the release actor, we have a test here saying, is this attached actor, is that the root component's attached parent? Is that equal to the motion controller? If yes, then call drop. But since we don't have anything attached anymore, since we are using a PhysicsHandle, then this is going to be false, and obviously this is going to fail. Then we never get this drop called. So the way I decided to solve that is to expand our interface. So if we go to that, where we have the pickup and drop, I'm going to add a new function called is held by me, which is going to take a input parameter, which is going to be a scene component. That can actually be a motion control component, I guess, but scene component like this, which is basically the motion controller. And then it's going to output a boolean saying whether or not it is being held by this. So just call this return. I guess you can do this in a number of different ways, but this is the way I found to do this the most easiest. So let's double click here and say is held by me. Notice it says message because it's sending a message to check if it has this interface function implemented. And the MC is going to be the motion controller here, which is a, well, it says motion control component, but it's basically there's a scene component behind. So that is why this is working, scene component reference. But technically it should be a motion control component, but who cares? It works. Oh, I think it works at least. Okay, so we need to implement this is held by me on the pickup cube, which is now found here. And what it's going to do is just going to compare this motion controller, is this equal to this motion controller which is currently holding us, and then return that. This is if this is let's say you're holding it with the left hand and you're grabbing it with the right hand, then this is going to be false, and yeah. So let's have a test more and see how it works now. Actually, let's do one more thing, because you were noticing that it was kind of acting a little bit too saggy and stuff. So I'm gonna lower the linear damping. You can play around with these values yourself. This is basically gonna make it more unstable the lower you set it. So I found a value of 100 to work okay. And this linear stiffness, you want to set it a little bit higher so it doesn't drift off. So I'm going to set this to 100 and 5000 as well. This works pretty well. Yeah, and mentioned you can play around with this yourself. That should be enough for a test. So you can see it's still acting a little bit rubbery, but it's not drifting off when I shake it. And I can now release it, and if I try to grab it with the other hand, what is going to happen is going to snap back to the original hand. So that's something we haven't fixed yet, and actually needs to be solved by, if you remember, I had a pin going off in the beginning of the pickup cube here. So this one here. So what we're going to do is to say, once you pick up something, you want to check if it's already set. Because if it's already set to something, then you want to ask it to drop it again. So if this is being picked up, you want to ask, is this valid? And if this is valid, then you want to ask it basically to drop it. Actually, we don't need that. We need to just call drop. Like that. So now I can grab it from each hand and it still behaves. Whoops. And I have collision with things, which is nice. But then, as you saw, we have this shakiness stuff here, which I'm not too fond of. So that is what we're going to have a look at. And in the next video, we're going to take a look at how we can create a mix between these two methods here. So it's going to be a little bit more complicated and in some ways convoluted, I guess, but let me see if I can walk you guys through it. So until then, thank you for watching and see you in the next. Bye bye.